Episode 45, Nerdy News and Stuff.
Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So, switch on your brain and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Visionary Variety Podcast. This is a reoccurring episode where we're going to talk about, wait for it, nerdy news and stuff. Everything from Star Wars updates to Disney Plus, stuff in space, movies, people dying. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's been a busy month. Related. Sad. Shouldn't laugh at that.
I liked it.
You're
It
terrible.
was funny.
So before we get to the news, I am Daniel Grove, a local photographer in San Antonio that loves all things geeky. I'm pretty much just addicted to being creative. With us, we also have Nate Gunn,
Hey, what's going on?
our videographer extraordinaire and also quite geeky. And also with us is Angela Brock from Kentucky.
Hey, people.
And she is a very talented portrait pencil artist that does awesome characters like superheroes and whatnot. You can check her out on Facebook. What's your name on Facebook?
Art by Angela Brock is my page on Facebook.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's going on out in the nerdiverse. Nate, why don't you start us off with all the Star Wars updates?
Star Wars.
Woo.
If y'all haven't heard, the Mandalorian's coming out. I mean, I'm not looking forward paying for it on Disney Plus though.
You're
I'm just
right.
I don't look
dumb.
forward to paying for anything.
Yeah. For
Exactly.
real.
If we can have stuff for free, that'd be great.
Yeah, come on.
It's supposed to be taking place like 3 years after Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, so it should be
Interesting.
interesting. But Mandalorian is not. It's like a group of people. It's not just like Boba Fett. But then some people are thinking it's Boba Fett, and I'm like, I don't know.
No.
Looking forward to it because Jon Favreau is directing it, and I think he's a good director. So
Sweet.
he's been releasing a lot of stuff more than previous directors on like social media. Like other directors, like when they did Episode 7, I hardly saw anything from Abrams, and then when they did Rogue, I saw nothing. And then it was like Episode 8 here and there, like the trailers, of course. And then there was no hope on Solo. I think we didn't get a trailer until like right
Super
before.
secret project.
Yeah.
I think it's because of things like Solo that we're getting the Mandalorian, but I think as a TV show, which is sad, but cool at the same time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The Mandalorians have been a really deep set of characters and a people group in the Star Wars books, especially non-canon now.
Yeah.
But they haven't really talked anything about them much in canon. I think, well, I'll take it back. In the animated series, they've touched on the Mandalorians, like in Rebels and Clone Wars. I think there's more information there. But the movies, like all we see is Jango Fett, and then little Boba Fett, and then older Boba Fett. And I don't even know if they're even called Mandalorians in the script.
No.
But, it's just
Honestly, I've only ever heard the name, like you said, elsewhere besides like the episodes.
Yeah. Like it's smart to do a TV show about this because while the Mandalorians are well known to like the video game players and the people who know the Star Wars universe, it's still untouched on just enough to where like people who enjoy Star Wars and don't know anything about the other stuff, like they're still going to be into it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a fresh people group and character to develop. And I'm excited. And also, I love Star Wars. I love the Skywalkers, but I'm just like, please give us something new. Like, so we're finally getting something new. Well, kind of.
It's a lot of Luke and Leia, which is totally fine. But I think, like you said, we've just kind of beat the horse too many times. And it's like, okay, there is a lot more that we need to see visual and instead of reading about it, which is nice reading about it, but bringing like the reading to reality is nice.
So at this time in the Star Wars history, this is, like you said, 3 years after Return of the Jedi. So Luke and Leia are married.
Luke and Leia.
Luke and Leia.
I was like,
alternate universe.
I don't know what you've been
Oh,
watching.
no.
Too much Game of Thrones, I guess.
So much fan fiction.
Ew. Creepy. Han and Leia are married, and they possibly are. Well, I think she may be pregnant or just had baby Ben.
Baby Ben.
So, because in the book, The Last Shot, which is a canon book about basically mostly about Han and Lando, he's like 1 or 2, and I think that's 6 years after the movie. So yeah, baby Ben's not born yet. But a lot of stuff going on. I think the other book that I mentioned in previous episodes called Lost Stars, which I believe reveals Rey's parents, but what do I know? This takes place a little bit during this time as well. So it's kind of an untouched on time in popular Star Wars lore, but a lot of stuff to explore, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Favreau did say that this is going to introduce all new characters. So this is not about Boba Fett. Boba Fett might be even dead by now. I don't really know what he's up to these days. Oh, he got eaten by the Sarlacc, so wherever he is.
Yeah.
Being slowly digested and or crawling around a desert. No more Death Stars, no more super weapons, please. Just good storytelling would be great.
I wonder how far they'll be out. Like, will they know about the Death Star, or or will it be like will it be a conversation that happens, or will it be so far away from it they had no idea?
Yeah, well, it's taking place in the Outer Rim, which doesn't mean they're totally removed from everything. Who knows? We'll see.
It's gonna be our space western.
Yeah, basically. It's crazy that it's taken like almost 40 years to finally have a TV show of Star Wars.
I know.
A live action TV show.
I mean, but what's crazy is I would have
Oh my
thought
gosh.
like Rebels from Netflix would have had something first, but they had the cartoon, anime, whatever you want to call it. But to think that it's been, like you said, 40 years, it's like, man. And to start off with The Mandalorian, what a great spot to start. I mean, I commented earlier how Favreau, like beyond all the directors, he's been sharing a lot, which I actually thought this was hilarious. He tweeted or on Instagram, he put out the ice cream database teaser. And for his comment, he said Starbucks question mark. And I was like,
Is that what he said?
yes. Yeah, it was
so
Starbucks.
weird.
And I was like, what?
If the Star Wars ice cream machine plays a part in The Mandalorian, I will be so happy.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
That would be
I mean,
hilarious.
for those that don't know, it's a guy in Cloud City that's running for his life, and he's carrying what looks like an ice cream machine, and his name is Will Roll Hood. He has an action figure now because of that role. Yeah, I mean, it's literally like a dude running for his life holding an ice cream machine. He's like, my Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not supposed to know it's an ice cream machine, right? It's supposed to be some
Right.
sort of tech, but it's an ice cream machine.
Yeah, in the Star Wars universe, it's a database that contains a bunch of sensitive information, but in real life, like the prop was made from an ice cream machine.
The formula for chocolate ice cream.
Oh, save it. The rebels' most prized treasure.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so they already have the casting for The Mandalorian. Like Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones is going to be one of the main roles. I was only seeing 3, so it should be interesting. If it's all new characters, I'm curious to see who else they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, he's from Game of Thrones, which I know nothing about, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We were speaking about Rogue One earlier. So apparently they're going to take Cassian and they're going to have a prequel to Rogue One, which should be before Rogue One. But I guess the biggest thing that I was thinking, wouldn't that ruin the TV show because we know how it ends?
Well, what's happening in the TV show is not really what happened to Rogue One. So not really, although we know the guy's going to die.
Yeah, I mean, that's
We're
going to
gonna
be
know
find
that.
out how he, gets to where he's at. on
Yeah,
Rogue One.
before leading up to Rogue One.
I do know that when the prequel starts, that the K2SO, I think depending on the timeline they start, he'll already be a reprogrammed Imperial droid that's K2SO now. But that was one of the biggest questions ahead is like, well, will he basically have his Chewbacca? Haha. And
That would be a cool part of the show is to show how they got him.
yeah, that would be. Because they showed that in Han, how Chewie and Han became friends. So they have kind of that moment again. It would be nice. I personally, in the Han Solo movie, that was my favorite part where they became friends. So how he got the Imperial droid to reprogram to have a best friend basically would be, I think, really cool.
Yeah, that would be.
So now that the Mandalorian's come out, do you guys think that we'll have a Boba Fett movie? Was it kind of up in the air now that we have Mandalorian kind of out on the TV station streaming and all that fun
I
stuff?
don't think it's going to happen, honestly.
I could see Obi-Wan, and anything else because we had Han, but I don't know. The whole Solo thing may have just killed all the movies, but outside the
still
original
don't quite
trilogy
understand.
and the new trilogy and the new episodes, but like these spinoffs, I don't know. They might just be TV shows now.
So speaking of TV shows, another thing that the Disney is putting out is called Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures. So this is basically an animated retelling of the original trilogy from what it looks like. And it's like shorts. So I don't know how long they're going to be, maybe 5 or 10 minutes long or even shorter. But they're kind of telling, famous moments and scenes from the original Star Wars trilogy with kind of a new style. They're not changing the story as far as I know. They're keeping it canon, of course. But it's got almost an anime style. It's pretty cool animation. Have you guys seen the video?
I have. I've seen a few clips here and there, but nothing it's not out yet, so it hasn't seen all the way through.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm intrigued. At first, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, still, like, we're not getting out of the Skywalker, black hole of gravity. We, like, nothing new. Come on, come with some of the new ideas. But the more I thought about it, what it really is it's retelling the original story for a new generation. The new kids these days didn't grow up with it. I mean, I'm not of that generation of the original trilogy, but I grew up watching it. So I don't know, it's not all bad, but like I said, fresh new style, kind of a different audience.
And it's not going to be on you think it's going to be on the Disney Plus or only YouTube?
They said it's for YouTube. There's apparently a YouTube channel called Star Wars Kids, and there's also StarWarsKids.com. So they're focusing on that, and they're so short. I don't know if it would really be fitting to have it on a streaming service.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, eventually, they have the right to do whatever they want because it's theirs. Yeah. But I wonder if they will bump it over to Disney Plus,
smush them all together and make like a montage or something.
Yeah, something like that. It looks good. I know. Like, I guess what Daniel was saying earlier is he's done with the Skywalkers. It's kind of interesting that Lucasfilms brings something new out, and then something has to do with Skywalker almost at the same time. It's like new Skywalker, new Rogue One. Oh, but Skywalker is going to be in the next one. It's like
I feel like they're just scared to get outside the box of what has been successful for the past 30, 40 years.
I mean, it makes sense. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. I guess they have some room to branch out, but I always feel like with Kylo Ren he's kind of a Skywalker and a Han Solo kind of mix, but he's still kind of funneling the whole Skywalker-ish kind of thing we're talking about.
Even episode 7 and 8 are still within the Skywalker circle.
Yeah.
Rey is, I believe she's not a Skywalker, so she is actually a transition to getting beyond the Skywalker family. And, the Skywalkers are all dying.
Yeah.
We lost 2 of them already in the movies. Leia's next in episode 9. In the big picture of things, we are transitioning out of that finally with Rey.
I'm hoping we do get an Obi-Wan movie or a spinoff or something or a TV show. That'd be great because, Ian McGregor would be perfect to continue on the franchise for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, the longer they wait, the more they're going to have to put the story during that what looks like his age. But realistically, we've already told the story of Obi-Wan a lot during Clone Wars and even into Rebels.
Yeah.
And then, of course, leading up to episode 4. So there's not a whole lot of stuff to share.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know.
Speaking of Obi-Wan, have you all heard of Ian McGregor's brother? His name is Colin. Have you heard the joke about that whole thing?
Yes.
Ian McGregor is Obi-Wan in the Star Wars universe, and his brother, Colin McGregor, is a pilot, and his call sign is Obi-2.
Oh my
I don't know how that's funny, but it's funny.
That's great.
I wonder, is he the older brother, though?
He looks a little older, yeah.
That's weird. The older brother's 2 and the younger brother's 1.
Too late. He didn't get the role in the movie.
Alrighty.
So Colin McGregor will be Obi-2 in the Star Wars universe, and they'll be the
gosh,
Obi
no.
brothers.
Can you imagine an actual
Please.
character?
Don't do that to Star Wars.
And totally jump out of the Skywalker area, and we'll have the Obi brothers.
Obi brothers.
Speaking of stars and space,
Oh, boy.
there's quite a few. Yeah, it's quite a few updates in the space world. We're coming back to the real world. Okay, no more Star Wars. We're in the real world here. NASA, all that stuff. So, have you guys heard of Oumuamua?
Sure.
Do you know what I'm? It's not an English word. All right, so Oumuamua.
Oumuamua.
So fun saying that.
Sounds like someone's just messing up.
Keys.
Oumuamua.
Oh, why is this so funny? So I'm just gonna say the thing this is a Hawaiian word for messenger. Now, this is a space object. I don't even want to call it a comet or a meteor because we're not even sure what it is. Not 100% at least. So this object flying through space into our solar system, and now it is exiting, it was spotted in 2017 on October 19th. We saw it finally when it got close enough. It's a very small object, and it's rotating quite quickly. we believe. And some guys saw it out in space. They're like, what is this thing? It's moving. Let's track it. Make sure we're not going to die. We're not. Don't worry. It's not going to hit the Earth. So basically, this is a really small piece of something, rock, we hope. And it entered our solar system about 100 years ago. And it came really close to the sun inside the orbit of Mercury. And then it slingshotted out of our solar system. And I think it's somewhere near Jupiter right now, or maybe it's about to be, which is basically to the point where we can't see it anymore because it's just so small. So, yeah, people are getting real creative with what this thing is.
Oh my god.
Oh, what a great spinoff for a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard everything from spaceships to antimatter. It's just like crazy.
Can they get close enough to it to put a tracking beacon on it?
No, it's moving way too fast and it's already too far away.
Dang. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool mission to do.
That would be awesome. It's moving almost 200,000 miles per hour currently.
Oh my.
Dang, that
is
thing's
quite
moving
fast.
quick. How did they see it?
Telescopes. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because I guess now you have all the radars and sensors that would be like, I don't know what that is. But 100 years ago, how do they know? I guess they can backtrack using math, but 100 years ago,
Yeah,
dang,
they did.
No one probably even saw that.
Well, when you think about it, the farther away something is, even though it's moving super fast, you can track it easier. As it gets close, that's when it moves quick.
I guess so. It's the same effect like when you watch a plane in the sky. It's going like 400 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe you're standing on the ground and you're able to watch it. So I guess that makes sense.
So they tracked it, they backtracked it and found roughly where it came from. That's kind of the hard part is trying to predict what star it could have come from based on the distance and, the movement of stars and the rotation of the galaxy, things like that. They've got about 4 potential good candidate stars that it may have came from. But of course, we really just don't know what this thing came from. Some people have said it was an exploding planet or a newly forming planet, and somehow this sliver of rock got shot out at ridiculous speeds. Doesn't quite make sense. So the planetary theory is kind of out, I think, because, based on how planets supposedly form, I don't think a piece of rock is going to be shooting out 200,000 miles an hour and then all the way to another solar system. So a little weird. It is about 800 meters long. And it's 10 times longer than it is wide. So this is like a really long cucumber in space. It's like a space cucumber. Yeah, so that's the shape of it. It's not like a rock asteroid thing that we're used to. It's very narrow. So this thing is rotating every few hours. I think it's about every 7 hours. They have theorized that it rotates. We haven't seen a clear image of it. We couldn't have taken a picture of it because of its size and speed. But what they did see is basically a blinking pixel. With the resolution of the telescopes, as great as they are, this thing is still really small. So all they could get a glimpse of was this oscillating, blinking, blip on their screen. And because of that changing of brightness every, 7 or so hours, they have theorized that this is a piece of rock that's rotating very quickly. And it's got this oblong shape, which is causing a bright pulse of light. And when it rotates, it, blinks and blinks as it rotates and reflects the sun's light to us.
Whoa.
Yeah, very strange. Cool. We don't see stuff in space like this a lot. We've never had anything that we know of enter our solar system from another solar system. So, with modern records, this is the first extrasolar object that we've ever observed. Pretty exciting.
So cool. It's part of Thanos, but it's so cool.
It's his poop. Pardon. As far as it entering our solar system, it came in at a 23-degree angle. So basically, we all know, the rough artistic rendering of our solar system, right? All the planets rotate roughly on the same plane. Let's say flat, on a tabletop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this thing came in from a 23-degree angle from the flat, horizon of the solar system model, which is very strange. Most stuff that's been rotating around and around for, eons, it has flattened out and is rotating in a disk because that's just how the sun's gravity is, I guess, the spin around the sun. So this is definitely not like a local piece of matter. This is from somewhere else. Ooh. And it's been moving and as it came towards the sun and left, some of the recorded movements were a little odd. So some people, of course, were theorizing, this has like propulsion on it. This is a spaceship. This thing has gravity drives, blah, blah, blah. Something I learned about while researching this was that meteors, as they move through space, especially going around the sun, they are off-gassing. So there are chemicals and even water and ice and things inside these meteors often that will boil and shoot out as it gets closer to the sun, right? It heats up. So the stuff, gas and liquid and things like that, spray out at various jets, kind of like on Armageddon. Remember all those jets shooting out? It's like that. So as these things shoot out, they provide enough force and propulsion to push the meteor, around. So it's not just a dead rock flying around in an orbit. It'll actually change direction very slightly or speed up or slow down based on wherever these gas jets shoot out. And it's kind of random. So we were like, it's just a typical meteor, right? It's shooting out gas. Well, we have no evidence for any gas or particles that we can observe shooting out of this thing. So it's like not moving smoothly as we would expect. And we also can't see any evidence of natural phenomena like jets. Also on infrared, it's totally invisible. So it's just like there's no heat, but it's also very reflective. Most meteors give 4% reflection based on our telescopes from Earth. This is 10% reflective. Whoa. Very strange. Can't help but think about a spaceship.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah, Silver Surfer. That's what it is. So let's use our imaginations. What do you hope this thing is, Angela? What is your answer? What is this thing? Tell us the truth.
It's a spaceship. I don't know. Like, I can't get more creative than a spaceship. Like, what else?
Nate, what say you?
So it's long, right?
Oh.
I don't know.
Like a cucumber.
Space cucumber.
I don't know, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, so many thoughts. Like, it's a spaceship. Is it a piece of planet that blew up? Is it a piece of glass that you can't see the other dimension? Or I don't know, like, or is it a spear? Like,
piece of Alderaan.
Yeah, like, is it a spear that someone threw and it just happened to like be like Thor kind of power threw it out of the atmosphere to throw it at somebody and they missed. Kind of thing. Wow. Like an arrow. Like, you know how
really running with this.
Like, like in reality, when you shoot arrows at something you miss, it keeps going. And so if you're in space.
Well, roughly.
Well, okay, so don't get all technical, but if you miss your object, it keeps flying. So in space, there's no gravity. So they shot something. Yes. It would have just kept going forever until something stopped it. Yep.
Like the Earth. Smash.
Oh, man.
Maybe some alien race tried to destroy us and they just missed. Oops.
Or it's a distraction for us to watch that while they sneak in.
Snap.
Okay.
While they invade, taking over.
He entered from the other side of Earth. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It's basically the butterfly to a dog. When the dog sees a butterfly, he's like, whoa, or a cat or something like that. So we're just all watching that, and they're going to creep in from the other side.
Oh, boy. All right. These speculations are something else.
When you think of like gravity, does it change the form of it? Like, was it always a cucumber? That's the question. Or was it
That's the real question here.
Like, the real question, was it a different form in our gravity, or our solar system kind of formed it to be something different?
Pretty sure this thing came from somewhere else and hasn't changed shape.
Don't know. You said use my imagination.
It's like, you don't know.
But I'm no expert.
You're a thief of joy.
Oh, man.
You said use my imagination.
I think that it's a probe from another race, different solar system, and they are scanning our solar system for intelligent life and resources. And once it returns to them, it's like, hey, there's some goodies down there. They're going to come and steal it all. Ooh. And we should have blew it up with a nuke. But no, we didn't. So goodbye, humans.
For the last 100 years, they've been scanning details.
They have.
And so it's like so they're basically 3D scanning them. A hologram of our solar system.
Maybe they're going to 3D print it when it gets back home.
For 100 years, I almost want to say they're a little out of date. Like, we have no worries. Like, we probably have another 100 years for it to get back.
No, they can do it instantaneously. Okay, they're
these
way far
ahead
than us.
Apparently, we should send something else out and see how far it goes until it disappears, so we can freak them out. That's the real thing. If we want to freak, they laid their cards on the table, so we're gonna
exact same trajectory.
So we're gonna send a piece of broccoli shaped whatever to you.
What?
You send a cucumber, we send broccoli.
All right, let's bring things back to the real world, shall we?
I thought that's where this was in the first place. You said, let's get away from Star Wars, get into reality.
True.
That's what you did.
We just can't help ourselves.
Oh, man.
Well, on Mars, currently, there is a little thing there called InSight probe by NASA, and it landed there a little bit ago, and it's just doing its thing. It's not a rover. I looked it up. It is just a stationary probe that landed, and
Like in the movie The Martian.
Yeah, they're gonna find Matt Damon finally on the Mars.
yeah, it's actually there to rescue him.
Yeah.
So basically, this little probe has a bunch of different scientific instruments on it for learning stuff about Mars. Apparently, we don't know a lot about Mars, so they're trying to fix that. One of the things on this little probe is called the SEIS, or Seismic Experiment for Interior Structure.
Whoa.
One thing you should know about the government and NASA is they love abbreviations. They love them. They're crazy about them.
So funny.
In the military too. So the SEIS is a seismic experiment. Basically, it's to read and measure seismic activity, which is, not earthquakes, but Mars quakes. Yeah, that's what they're actually called.
Oh.
I saw it on the NASA website, Mars quakes.
Oh my.
And other things like heat and probably gravity measurements and stuff like that. So it's like this little dome that the actual probe picks up off of its own structure and drops it onto the ground next to it with its robotic arm. And so this little thing is just going to sit on the actual soil of Mars, measuring and recording and sending data back to us. And there's another thing on board called the Physical Properties Package, which is basically a tiny little drill. Well, not tiny. Maybe it looks like maybe a foot or two tall. And it's also going to be placed on the soil of Mars just next to this probe. And it's also stationary. And this thing has some kind of hammer device inside that's gonna like smash this little probe into the dirt downwards. It's like a little oil drill, right? It's gonna be drilling down and smashing and hammering this little thing down underground. The plan is for it to somehow get 16 feet underground in Mars.
Whoa.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
That's
really interesting.
special.
I would love to know really how this thing works, but they just kind of use vague terms on the NASA website, and that it hammers every
They're into shortening stuff.
top secret.
This thing's called the Physical Properties Package. Its abbreviation is PPP. They couldn't get more
P3.
creative than that.
P-cubed.
Okay.
Yep. So this thing is going to be eventually pretty deep underground, and what it does is it's going to be emitting heat, which I guess is important to understand how heat goes through this, the material that makes up Mars, but also the hammering that is happening to push this thing down farther and farther is going to be causing seismic activity, which is, vibrations. And the little thing on top of the surface that's still up there is going to be measuring how these vibrations are acting and blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of cool tests going on. And the more I learned about this probe, there's literally a schedule on the NASA website. You can see day 1, day 3 weeks later, this is what happens, blah, blah, blah. This stuff is really slow. I thought this probe would open up, it'd start taking pictures, it'd do tests the first day. No, they take it real nice and slow. You've got a schedule for this whole thing, and they're not in any hurry. And also this thing only communicates with Earth once a day. So I'm thinking this is nothing like the movies, or at least what I imagine. They send a command and it gets there 20 minutes later, it does the thing, and then later in the evening they get a response. Yes, this was successful.
I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense because there's no human just to fly up there and be like, oh, I'm gonna go fix it really quick. And so I guess the limit on the use is just for the oops moment that they don't want.
Well, I thought it was there was real-time footage and they had real-time motor control. I know it's real-time is still delayed by the distance, which is around 16 to 30 minutes based on the distance between Earth and Mars. I know that. But at the same time, I still thought there was roughly real-time controlling and, at least visuals. But it doesn't sound like it. It's a very spaced out thing.
So I think I saw a 3D picture that they did. Through a pan all the way around.
Animation.
I was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the desert, but it's Mars. They literally could just drove out to Phoenix and took a picture for all I know, but that's where they filmed The Martian. But
you sound like a flat earther now, Nate.
I know.
No.
Space is fake.
Honestly, if they came to me and said they wanted to send me to Mars with no knowledge of anything, I'd be like, let's do it. I'm probably going to die, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty exciting stuff. You can see new images on the NASA website, and we'll see what it figures out. I'm not expecting much, but at the same time, I guess the NASA scientists are pretty excited. Something else cool about this probe is that on it is a very small little chip. I don't want to call it a microchip, because of what's on it, but it's about the size of maybe your pinky fingernail. It's pretty small, assuming your pinky fingernail is average size. And on this little object is 826,923 names etched onto this small object. I believe they used an electron microscope to etch the names in. I don't know if I got that right. But yeah, there's a bunch of names chipped on it, and there was a thing called "Send Your Name to Mars." People submitted their names.
I actually have a mutual friend that sent their name on there, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they actually send you a picture of your name etched onto it? Because they.
Yeah, I need evidence.
Yeah. What if it's fake?
Did they spell it right?
I mean, if it's free, is it free? I don't know.
No, I think you had to pay a certain amount. I forget how much.
So, all right, well, that's it from my NASA space news. Angela, what do you got for us?
Oh, man. Well, I guess I'm going to start us off with something kind of depressing. So I hope you guys look forward to that. Doesn't it just seem like all of our childhood creators are passing away? It seems like one after another. Because, Stan Lee recently passed away. And then soon after that, Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, passed away at the age of 57 due to ALS, which just seemed to come out of nowhere.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really super sad. And then recently, one of the co-founders of Studio Ghibli, basically the Japanese equivalent of Disney over there, one of the Isao Takahata, I think is how you pronounce his name, he passed away too. And he was the director of Grave of the Fireflies and My Neighbor the Yamadas. I think were a couple of his bigger ones that he directed. So it's just super sad. Everybody's passing away, and I'm not emotionally prepared for all this. You guys feel the same?
No one told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these great creators are old and are just unhealthy and stuff like that. It's really sad. We're going to be left with no great creators or great thinking minds left eventually.
Or at least from our childhoods, at least, That's the sad part about it.
I mean, it's going to be kind of interesting because some of our pillars are falling. It's like Stan Lee. It's like, well, Marvel will go on, but it's like, man, like he was a really big pillar in that holding the structure up. And so it's like, oh man, let's not mess it up, please.
SpongeBob has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, same here.
It's a great show.
Yeah, at least like when I watched it, my most fond memories are, I think, around season 1, 2, and I think the first movie. After that, it started getting a little not as good. I want to say they still had good episodes after that, but they weren't as consistently good. So
yeah. I probably quote various SpongeBob quotes at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up, you go, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
For some reason, my 4-year-old loves saying "mi hoi manoi." Like, I said it to her, and she loves it. I don't understand why, but it's hilarious.
So funny. Yeah, I mean, I kind of quote Doodle Bob occasionally too. So
such wisdom.
Yes. I even named a YouTube channel that I have, Doodle Brock.
Nice.
Partially because of Doodle Bob.
So. And whenever there's chocolate around, I go, chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People think I'm like, what is wrong with that guy? And then I just laugh. Okay.
I know things have been recorded, but I'm going to miss the update of him saying Excelsior and stuff like that. So it's going to be sad.
I'm going to miss his cameos.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing. I am very happy to hear that his Avengers 4 cameo has already been filmed.
Oh, good.
That was one of the first thoughts that popped into my brain when I first heard of him passing. I was like, I really hope they filmed this cameo for that movie because I'm going to be so sad if we can't see him one last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least he can get through this like stage of the Marvel universe and finish it.
But enough about all that sad stuff. Let's move on to movies that will be coming out here in the next year. I guess Lion King. Have you guys seen the new trailer for that?
I have.
Yeah, it looks intense.
Looks the same.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. They did actually recreate shot for shot the old animated trailer. And I guess that's kind of cool. So you can do side-by-side comparisons, even though it's not really original.
Yeah.
But I will admit, when I first heard they were making, I'm going to say, a new CG animated Lion King movie. It's not live action. People. Come on. I was very skeptical because, one, I'm just tired of these remakes. Honestly, they're just pumping them out left and right. And I feel like they're just trying to polish up my childhood, and it's already good, in my opinion. They don't need to touch it. And Lion King is, I think, my favorite Disney animated movie.
Yeah.
But then I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, Simba looks so cute and fluffy, so I'll give it a shot. So.
Didn't they use the same voice for James Earl Jones, right? Okay,
Yes, they are using James
Oh,
Earl
good.
Jones to voice Mufasa.
That's good.
As far as I'm aware, that's the only same casting choice that
Mhm.
across the movies.
I can't wait to see Timon and
yeah.
Pumbaa. Did they show him in the trailer?
Yeah. They did
good.
not.
What's
No.
crazy? What,
They basically just showed the very beginning where Simba's being carried
Yeah.
out and being risen
Christened,
up.
whatever.
what I
front of all
don't
the-
understand
yeah.
is if they have it, James Earl Jones. I don't remember his name, but the guy that does Scar is still alive. He's
Jeremy
yeah,
Irons.
he's still alive. I don't.
He's still around.
You
Yeah.
didn't get the invite?
No, I mean he's
Oh.
Batman's. He's Alfred.
Oh.
Yeah, he was Alfred in the new ones.
Oh, wow.
I mean, honestly, I just kind of wish everybody would come back and do their voices,
Mhm.
but they're not going to do that. I think they're centering on a more African American led cast, which I totally understand and is cool, except for I think Timon and
Mhm.
Pumbaa maybe are both different.
As long as they keep the same excitement and the humor, I'm fine with however they want to do it.
Yeah. I just wonder, are they going to do like the musical numbers too? Or are they
Yeah.
going to pass on that? Because honestly, I feel like it'd be kind of weird seeing realistic-ish looking animals
Doing a
breaking
musical.
out, and I just can't wait to be king.
That would be
but-
weird, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Mulan. Like they're keeping some of the original songs, but they're doing new ones, but they're still doing musical stuff. But with this, I don't know how that would look with CGI. Really photorealistic
Yeah.
CGI animals.
I guess we kind of already
Mhm.
had a glimpse. When they did the Jungle Book, not Mowgli, but Jungle Book, they didn't really have any numbers.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm thinking. They're probably just going to play it straight, which I don't know how to feel about that as,
Yeah.
in a way, because that's what made it so special
Yeah.
in the original. But we'll see. I'm going to give it a chance. So also coming out next year is Shazam.
Cool.
And I will admit, I just only recently watched the trailer for it, and I'm very mad at myself for not watching it sooner, because I had no idea the whole story behind Shazam and that he was just a kid, basically. And anytime he says Shazam, he turns into this
Kind of hilarious.
bumbling dude, essentially. Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that they just went on a whim here because the guy that gives him the power is Shazamo. So it's like,
Is that his name?
I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, wow, that's weird.
That's amazing.
Gandalf. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, basically Gandalf. I'm just very glad to see DC actually doing a humorous movie for once and not trying to be all dark and
Yeah.
gritty.
Yeah.
And they're embracing color
Edgy.
and not making everything being all blue and gray.
Yeah.
Mhm, totally.
That's very much looking forward to seeing how that one's going to turn out. Are you guys excited for that
I
one
am.
too?
I
Yeah, it
like the
looks
humor.
funny.
He's a good actor too.
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to do a comic relief one, kind of like Deadpool was. And
Mhm.
he doesn't, he doesn't take being a superhero seriously maybe at first. Also like Deadpool.
Yeah.
So
Because he's just a kid.
yeah, he's a kid
technically.
naturally.
I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but
When he's walking outside the store and he's like, "Hey, I'm a
Yeah.
superhero. What's up?"
Nice. It's definitely a change of
good.
pace from the Justice League characters.
yeah, really. I mean, maybe the Flash. I mean, the Flash is humorous too, but this guy,
Yeah.
he's on another level. Have there been any new updates about Captain Marvel? Because I haven't really kept up with it, honestly.
yes, there
but I
have
am
been.
looking so forward to it. Ooh.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a new trailer that came out just a few days ago that has a really great monologue on it that basically just kind of just lays down the groundwork for what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
in it, we learn a few things. We learn that Brie Larson's character, which is Captain Marvel, or Carol Danvers is the character's name. So this alien race called the Kree finds Carol Danvers after something happened. I don't know how she got onto this alien planet, and she's not feeling good, like she's about to die or something like that. So they basically revive her using Kree blood, which is blue blood. And if you've seen S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know that is how Agent Carson was revived, as far as what I've looked into. So cool little connections to what we've already seen in the past with S.H.I.E.L.D. So they revived her with Kree blood, which also gives her superpowers, which I'm thinking, just give me some of that blood and I'll be good to go. Just hand it out to the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whoever. And so she becomes basically a weapon and lives just with them and works for them and blah, blah, blah. And she can shoot like energy pulses out of her hands. She can fly. She's super strong, all the good stuff. And then she's on Earth. So we also learned that the Skrull is another alien race, and they are basically the arch enemies of the Kree. So we got the Kree, the good guys, blue blood, and the Skrull, which are bad guys, and they can shapeshift. So they have been
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They have been slowly working their way into human society. We see in the trailer Captain Marvel punches an old woman in the face, and it was really cool. And turns out, luckily, it was a Skrull.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Good thing she had good intel on that one, because that would have not turned out so well.
Right. Well, yeah. I would
Goodbye,
hope
head.
so. Oh my God.
Yeah, so they're shapeshifters, and from what I've read, as far as the comic books going back in, I think the 80s or 70s, the Skrull is also in the comic book world, and they have not just snuck into Earth, but they have replaced some of the Avengers themselves with shapeshifting Skrull.
Whoa.
So we'll see if we get one of those storylines in maybe Captain Marvel 2 or Avengers 4 or 5.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Fury's anyone could be one of them. You know, it's kind of that classic paranoia storyline where we have
That's
sleeper
awesome.
agents and they don't even know they're a Skrull, this and that. So we'll see if that comes into play in a few years from now. So interesting stuff. Lots of groundwork being laid, and the trailer's really cool. So can't wait to see it.
Oh,
It almost sounded like
Yay,
it
can't
sounded like
wait.
we were coming to the end of the Avengers. Then they introduced Captain
Mhm.
Marvel, and it sounds like we're going right back up because there's a lot of groundwork.
Well, as far as we know, there's only one Avengers movie coming out, which I'm just calling Infinity War Part 2. Because that's
Yeah,
what it
so
was
far.
going to be called originally. And then they're like, oh, there's no Part 2, but really there is. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Once Thanos is done, I think a lot of the Avengers will either die of natural causes or just kind of leave, and we'll kind of move on to a new age of the Avengers maybe. Or
Yeah.
Falcon is Captain America, and we've got Captain Marvel as the leader instead of Iron Man. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, I
looking
don't
forward to
believe
that
that.
part of the Marvel universe, but it's okay. I'm not sad
Mhm.
about it. I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're crying. I'm not crying.
I guess continuing on with the whole Marvel trend, I am looking forward to the new Spider-Man movie
Woo!
coming out, and I do like the wordplay that they're doing with the titles, where the first one was Homecoming, and now the second one's Far From Home.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. The only thing that I've noticed about the plot for this new one is that it takes place in Europe, where they're spending vacation, and I think Vulture's coming back, which is kind of weird to see because in most of these superhero movies they don't reuse villains back to back like that. And Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be in the movie as well as Mysterio.
Ooh.
So got a new villain in there at least too. So that's good to hear because I was worried it was just going to be back to back Vultures at first.
I'm always curious when they bring in these classic villains, how they're going to make them not look stupid. Because
Yeah.
let's face
Yeah.
it, Mysterio had a fishbowl on his head and a cape and yellow
I really
boots
hope he
or
still
something.
does. Honestly.
Like the Manta Ray, I think his name is Manta Ray in the Aquaman movie, still looks stupid. Just gonna say it. His helmet is stupid.
so
So anyway, I
funny.
just want to get that out of my system.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a given. I mean, even the classic superheroes, even Batman back in the day looked really dumb, but they managed to make him updated and cool.
hmm
Superman even, same thing. So, they're going to get a pretty decent makeover, hopefully. But yeah, as far as I know, there's no other news about it except that it's coming out in July. So it makes me wonder, when
Summer.
are they going to start doing their promotional stuff? Are they going to wait until the last minute, like after Infinity War?
Yeah.
Because it's basically a given that if there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out, he's not dead.
What?
So I don't know what they're going to do there. Because it's going to be so weird seeing trailers coming out before Infinity War. And you see Spider-Man, it's totally fine. And people who don't keep up with nerdy news like us, they're going to be so confused or spoiled or something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the marketing for that.
Yeah, good point.
So I guess I'm going to back away from Marvel, but still talk about superheroes a little bit more. I'm sorry, guys. But I just recently saw the trailer for Glass.
Just recently?
And it looks super... Yeah, I'm very bad when it comes to
Jeez.
keeping up with movies. I'm so sorry.
Forgive you.
But yeah, I just watched this trailer for Glass, and I feel kind of bad that I haven't kept up with other M. Night Shyamalan movies, like Unbreakable and Split, because apparently all these movies are connected, and I had no idea.
Yeah, it's so great.
But yeah, they're bringing in Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson from Unbreakable, and then they're bringing in James McAvoy's character from Split. So I've learned, and they're all together. And the trailer opens up with them basically talking to a psychiatrist because they all believe they have superpowers, and she kind of handles cases like that. So as far as I understand, Bruce Willis, I guess he seems to have some sort of super strength, but he touches
he
people
does.
too, and he can see visions.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you can
Is that what
see
happened?
what they've done, and it's usually crimes. I think it might just be bad stuff they've done. So
Right.
imagine if he touches the Split guy. Like, he'll see all the sick, crazy
Oh.
things that no one even knows about, which I think is what happens.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I had no idea about James McAvoy's character in Split or anything. So this is the first time I'm seeing him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to see this movie just to see his character. Well, first I want to see Split, but
But it's good.
because he has 24 different personalities
Mhm.
inside him. Man, he's like taking the character from Daredevil, Bullseye, up to like crazy levels. That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
I just want to see the acting because I bet he's phenomenal trying to portray all these people inside of him.
Yeah, he did a good job.
And then, yeah, seemed that way in the trailer even. So
Seemed
can't wait to see what
creepy
it'd be like in
more
the
than
movies.
good.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. If an actor can
Creep you out.
genuinely creep you out, he's doing a good job.
I mean, that's true. I mean, like I tell people, like, man, I hated that actor. I wanted to punch him in the face in the movie. I'm like, he did his job. Like,
Yeah. I mean, same with Heath Ledger when he did the Joker. He was genuinely terrifying. And then we have Samuel L. Jackson's character, who is Glass, Mr. Glass, he calls himself at the end.
Mhm.
And he has a very fragile body. He's broken his bones, I think he said, like 94
Whoa.
times throughout his life.
Yeah.
But he has like a crazy high IQ, so I guess
Makes
that
up
makes
for
him
it.
pretty invaluable. Yeah. Yeah, with all these cast of characters, I'm really interested to see like what these movies are like, and I feel bad for not keeping up with all
You
these
should.
movies better. I know, so I feel enlightened now. So need to see it.
well, you go listen to our last episode about superheroes and be really sad, and then go watch this and be like, okay, this is joking. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
That was a fun episode.
That was.
I know. I'm sorry, I had to miss that one.
That's all right.
And then I noticed that they postponed Alita Battle Angel. Daniel, isn't that like one of the movies you were really interested in seeing this year?
I am. Not only because I know an extra that's playing in there, which we interviewed. If you look in our previous episode, it's the one with the interview with Paulina Manceau. She's an extra in the movie, which is super cool. But irregardlessly of that, throw that in there for my grammar freaks.
Oh my
It looks like a
gosh.
cool movie. It's got mechs, it's got androids, artificial intelligence, questions of existence, all that good juicy stuff that I like.
Yeah.
And a lot of interesting CGI, which I'm curious to see how that's going to play a part in the character and connecting with, a CGI, mostly CGI character. So that got postponed and now it's next year.
Super bummer.
Man.
And it was sucked because we did the interview and we're like, oh, we'll have you back in a couple months. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
guess what?
Nope.
Why did they say why?
I'm just thinking CGI work and post-processing stuff.
Is this Battle Angel is the one with the people that have like the big eyes, right?
Well,
It's
the
kinda
main
anime.
character does.
Yeah, okay.
Just her.
Well, I think that's the last thing that I have for movies. We're gonna move on to talking about Disney Plus.
Ooh.
Disney's new streaming service that's supposed to come out. Is it next year?
Not that I already have enough streaming services. Let's just add one
Yeah.
more.
I know.
I think fall next year.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. At least I thought I have. But yeah, I'm not very thrilled about having to pay for another streaming service potentially, especially if they have a lot of good exclusive content like the Marvel mini series with I think they're having one with Loki
Woo!
and Scarlet Witch,
Mhm.
all the side characters. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's gonna be hard for me to resist, honestly.
But I mean, it coming out, it's going to take a big hit, in my opinion, to like Netflix because all
Yeah.
the Marvel stuff on Netflix is going to be pulled, unfortunately.
I'm wondering if all of it is. I mean, of course, we have already heard that Iron Fist, and Luke Cage, and Daredevil have been canceled, which breaks my heart. And there were some people that were hopeful that it would be moved to Disney streaming service,
hmm
but I was kind of skeptical upon hearing that because, I mean, if they're rated R and they're kind of brutal-ish, I can't imagine Disney wanting that on their streaming service. And I did see the headline a couple days ago that, yeah, it's been confirmed they're not bringing those
But
over.
see, I remember hearing
So-
about Disney
yeah.
Plus. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not saying the internet's the greatest source to get your information from, but
It's pretty much not.
Right.
I read that they were going to do the Disney Plus and they were going to keep Marvel heavier stuff for adults on Netflix. And they have, but
I mean,
the
They're going to keep it, but they're not going to continue with it, is what I'm understanding, which is super lame. So I guess it's safe to say that all Disney content that's on Netflix and Hulu, like the movies and TV shows, will be moved there. Because I don't see why they would keep them anywhere
Yeah.
else but there
No,
once that starts.
I feel like as a business decision, they want to draw people to the new thing.
Well, yeah,
And so they're going to remove what they can to draw you in. And they're making another big draw is just to make new awesome stuff like the Star Wars shows and a bunch of other series. They've actually released quite a bit of titles, what they're going to be making.
Yeah, from what I've seen, and apparently 7,000 episodes of TV shows and 400 to 500 movies will initially be available once it launches.
I mean, surprising though. They have so much
holy moly.
content. They're just finally putting it in one place.
Oh, I know. It makes me wonder, are they going to bring back, well, not bring back, but re-air like old shows that used to be on Disney Channel and movies?
Oh, man. Old kid stuff.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Makes me
That'd be
wonder
cool.
if they're going to bring that back. Yeah, that'd be kind of
If they're
interesting.
pulling everything to the Disney Plus, we talked about earlier about the adventures of Star Wars. Will they take the rights from YouTube to take that away and stream it
No.
in?
I mean, it's their own YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
it's theirs.
That would
So
be
I guess in the
airing it,
gist of
so-
it, they just don't like Netflix.
Yeah.
Because they're
Seems that
partnering
way.
with Hulu. They're fine with YouTube. They have their own stuff. And we don't know about the digital download stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess it all comes down to it is I wonder how much it's going to be
Yeah.
when they release payment packages. Because, if they're more than Netflix and Hulu's basic packages, people are going to flip and not go for it. So I know that I don't think they will. I think they're going to start out around $8, but I wonder would they even go lower?
Amazon would be
one?
really happy if they go high because then people are going, I'm just going to buy the whole series on Amazon. Amazon's like, what?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that they were going to try and undercut Netflix and be cheaper, which would be cool.
That would be nice. I mean, it still sucks. You have to pay for a separate app,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm just going to take advantage of what I can get for a free month trial when everything gets released. and go from there.
Just start
Yeah.
recording everything on VHS now, just in case.
Pirating all Disney products.
Can you imagine if anybody actually did that nowadays?
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sure
I wanna
meet
somebody
that
out there
person.
likes the quality of VHS.
Selling black market VHS. All right, well, that is it for this episode of Nerdy News and Stuff. If you guys have any comments on any of this stuff, comment, email us, and let us know. Thanks for listening and have a great week. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so that you won't miss any of the future episodes. You can also find our previous episodes there and listen whenever you want. We love to hear from our listeners, so if you've got any comments or suggestions for a future episode, you can always reach us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again and have a great week.
Star Wars.
Woo!
Hold on, let me redo
Beep, beep,
that.
beep.
I was not
Definitely
near the
nerdy, yeah.
microphone when I yelled the
Star Wars?
Oh my god.
Did someone say Star Wars?
War Stars.
It scares me how well you do that. Oh my gosh.